the Joy Reid podcast because she's out here making Gavin look reasonable. Well, almost.
I believe what he is saying is that the brown people who are being deported and detained by ICE, by his masked agents, are natural-born field workers. Something about them makes them natural-born field slaves. I think that's what he's saying. He's saying they're very special that way, but that the inner cities, the inner city people, which, given the fact that Trump is 79 years old and comes from a certain generation, means black people are just not doing the work. They're just not in the fields anymore. They're not, the coming into the field doesn't come naturally to them anymore.
What are you saying, dude?
So just to be clear, if you are a MAGA voter who supported Trump in order to see millions and millions of non-white migrants deported.
Are you retarded?
He just told you that the violent, militarized, masked ICE deportations that he and Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan are staging on camera to entertain and appease you are temporary. He intends to bring the deportees right on back here soon, somehow, to get them to want to come back, because they make the perfect nearly slave labor. They don't get a bad back. And besides, the inner cities, the blacks, they just won't pull their weight in the fields anymore.
I think it's safe to say at this point that Joy Reid is objectively retarded, because this take isn't just inflammatory, folks. It's a textbook example of how the Democrat Party keeps its audience in a permanent state of outrage by inventing motives that aren't actually there. Here you have a failed cable news host from MSDNC framing immigration enforcement as some cartoonish plan to deport people only to re-import them as nearly slave labor, a claim with zero basis in policy or fact. It's meant to trigger racial guilt and cement the idea that border control is inherently racist while completely ignoring the real-world exploitation happening under the very sanctuary policies people like Joy champion. Like the migrant children found working in an illegal marijuana grow here in California just a few weeks ago in her own political camp's backyard. This is a playbook, folks. Deflect from actual abuses, reframe enforcement as oppression, and keep the conversation anchored in emotional caricatures rather than practical solutions. It's how the Marxist grievance playbook plays out. It's the same ideological reflex that you see nowadays in academia, in the activist media, and in Hollywood, manufacturing villains to avoid confronting the uncomfortable truth that Democrat policies often enable the very exploitation they claim to so bravely fight against.